All right, all right. Welcome for our Zoom participants and welcome for those of you in our YouTube family that'll be seeing this video. I'm excited to be getting this information for you today. We're not going to waste any time. We're back on track with our Book of Genesis study. We're going to go right on through. We're going to plow through Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. We're going to get into the book of Joshua, and we're going to plow all the way through to the book of Revelation. There was a request made for us to deal with the Sabbath keeping, and I will get into that most likely after I end the book of Genesis. And then from there, we're going to get right back into it. But today we're back in the book of Genesis, and I want to go ahead and share my screen so we can pick up where we left off. Give me one moment. Abraham, the father of many nations, and Sarah was 107 and 20 years old, 127 years old, and these were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kirjath Arba, the same as Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah, his wife, in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre, the same as Hebron in the land of Canaan. Abraham marries again. Sometimes people don't get a chance to deal with this, but I definitely wanted to get into this because him being the father of many nations, we need to know who his offsprings are. And so Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah. And she bare unto him Zimran, and Jokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua. And Jokshan begot Sheba and Dedan, and the son of Dedan were Ashurim, and Letushim, and Leumam. And the sons of Midian, Ephah, and Epher, and Hanak, and Abida, and Eldah. All these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. But unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac, his son, while he yet lived, eastward unto the east country. So the future generation of Keturah's children, you're going to see them showing up in the life of Israel's lawgiver. So the fact that he married Keturah and had offspring by her turned out to be a significant issue. Let's see what happens here. We're into the book of Exodus 2 for this portion. Moshe fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelled in the land of what? Midian. Okay, that's one of Keturah's offspring. Midian, and he sat down by a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and Moses was content to dwell with the man. And he gave Moses Zipporah, his daughter. And she bare unto him a son, and he called his name Gershom. For he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land. Abraham's final days. So we're back in the book of Genesis now, chapter 25. And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life, which he lived, 163 years. So he was 175 years. Then Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age, an old man, and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons Isaac, or Isaac, and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah. In the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar, the Hittite, which is before Mamre, the field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth, there was Abraham buried, and Sarah his wife. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham, that Elohim blessed his son Isaac, or Yitzhak. And Isaac dwelt by the well Laharai, Ishmael and his 12 princes. So what we're doing, we're laying a foundation, giving you some history and some information about all of the descendants that sprang from Abraham. So we're just going over some history right now. We're going to get into some very serious portions of his descendants, okay? Genesis 25, verse 12. Now these are the generation of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaiden, bare unto Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael, by their names, according to their generations, the firstborn of Ishmael, Nebajoth, and Kedar, Adbeel, and Mibsham, and Mishma, and Duma, and Massa, and Hadar, and Tema, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedemah. These are the sons of Ishmael. He had 12 princes, right? And these are their names by their towns and by their castles. 12 princes according to their nations, okay? And these are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years, and he gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people. And they dwelt from Havilah unto Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest towards Assyria, and he died in the presence of all his brethren. Now, with the children born to Hagar and Keturah, Abraham will have dozens of nations scattered across the continent of Africa and around the world. So you're looking at these two individuals, Hagar and Keturah. Hagar bore one son, and from that one son came 12 grandsons. Keturah bore 6 sons, and from those 6 sons had 10 grandsons, for a total of 7 sons and 22 grandsons from Hagar and Keturah. Not even talking about Isaac yet, but just from these 2 women here, we're talking about 29 and more nations or people groups being sprang from their loins. Okay, so again, the Most High said he would be the father of many nations, and he was all that. I was talking to again this brother Ron, who wrote the book From Hebrews to Negroes, and he talks about all the different people groups that he's met in Africa. So many of them associate themselves with Abraham. Their languages are different, but when you ask what the word means, father of many nations, they are associating themselves with him. So again, it's because Abraham, his loins was fertile, and he bore many sons and many grandsons, and from them, many nations were created, okay? But unto the sons of the concubines, which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac his son, while he yet lived eastward unto the east country. So let's deal with this now. Why separate Isaac from his brothers? Okay, we need to deal with that. Why separate Isaac from his brothers? Right? Because first of all, the most spiritually influential nation on earth, the nation of Israel, is a monotheistic nation that would know the only true Elohim and who would give us the Holy Scriptures. Let's read that again. Why separate Isaac from his brothers? Because the most spiritually influential nation on earth, the nation of Israel, a monotheistic nation that will know the only true Elohim, and it will give us the Holy Scriptures. And the most vital individual in history, Yeshua HaMashiach, who will give salvation and the only way back to Elohim. All this will come from Isaac. Right? So we need to understand that. See, there's a lot of people, and in my studies, sometimes I get a chance to view other sites, and I get a chance to hear what other people are saying. And one thing I will tell you, that there is a very strong spirit of Antichrist in the earth right now. A very strong spirit of Antichrist. You know, anyone that would say that Yeshua was not born of the Holy Spirit, anyone that would say that he was not, he did not live, die, and was resurrected, and is a son of the Most High, if they're not agreeing to that, that is a spirit of Antichrist. It is a spirit of Antichrist. So for a person to believe that they can be in relationship with the Most High and reject his son, you know, to be abiding under a spirit of Antichrist, they're only deceiving themselves. They're deceiving themselves. So one of the things that we're doing in these lessons, and if you've been keeping up with the lessons, one thing you've noticed is that we're pointing out all of the places where there's a like as or a principle of something that shows and points the way to Yeshua. You know, when we looked at the life of Isaac, you know, the son, the only begotten of Abraham and Sarah, you know, he was a type and a shadow of Yeshua. And we continue to show the similarities in his wedding. You know, we showed the similarities of that being that precious bride, right, without spot or blemish. You know, in the sacrifice that Abraham was prepared to give, he was absolutely a type and a shadow of Yeshua's sacrifice on the stake, even to the point of taking him to the exact same location, right? And you know, was prepared to thrust that knife into him for that sacrifice in the exact same spot that Yeshua was prepared to give his blood. You know, so it's important to understand that the Old Testament, right, the Tanakh, Christ, Mashiach, is hidden in those scriptures, right? You know, he's kind of hidden there. And then when you get to the Brit Hadashah, he is revealed, right? The covers are pulled off, the veil has been lifted, and now we're able to see clearly all the types and shadows that were giving us exposure in the Old Testament are now made clear. Now, a lot of people have not studied your Bibles with that point of understanding. And so it's one of the reasons why I'm starting in the book of Genesis to really paint this picture. You know, when you have Adam and Eve, you know, they try to cover themselves up with leaves, but the Most High said, you know, unless there's a shedding of blood, there's not going to be any remission. And, you know, there's no doubt in my mind that he most likely took a lamb, you know, one of the meekest animals on the planet, took that lamb and took the lamb's clothing in order to cover, you know, Adam and Eve. And I know that broke his heart, you know, for Adam to see that animal that he named, right? He named every animal on the planet, and he knows this lamb to be a docile animal, right? One that, you know, even if it knows it's getting ready to be slaughtered, will not even attempt to run. You know, you'll see his brother get slaughtered, and he'll stay right there waiting for his time to be slaughtered. So to see that occur had to be a heartbreaking event for him. But it was pointing to, same thing it said in Isaiah 53, like a lamb to the slaughter, he opened not his mouth. And so we got to understand this, that all of these things came through Abraham and now through Isaac. So this is the reason why Abraham insisted, you know, I love all you guys. We know that he loved Ishmael. You know, he pleaded for Ishmael to be the one. But the Most High said, no, in Isaac shall thy seed be called. And so we got to understand that, you know, this was the Most High's plan. You know, all Abraham wanted, the only thing he wanted was a seed that he could, you know, have someone to cast all his wealth onto. And once Ishmael was here, he was content. He was good to go. I got a son from my loins. Let's rock this thing, right? But the Most High came to him, you know, 16 years later and said, no, from Sarah shall this seed be, right? Why Sarah? Because it was going to take a miracle for her to bear a seed, bear a child at 90 years old when her womb has been dead her whole life. So how can something be born in a place that has been dead, has never, been able to bear children? Why is that important? Fast forward to Mary. How in the world can a woman who has never known a man bear a seed? So Sarah was a type and a shadow of Mary, which was to come, right? Just like it was a miracle for Sarah to bear children, it was a miracle for Mary to bear children, and she had never known a man. So all these types and shadows are all pointing to the most important event that would ever occur, and that's the birth of Yeshua in flesh. And so we got to understand that. And so Isaac was critically important. Not that his father didn't love him. His father loved them all, sent them all. I guarantee you they were wealthy when they left him. But all of his primary resources were left for Isaac because he had a much greater calling. So again, why separate Isaac from his brothers? Because the most spiritually influential nation on earth, the nation of Israel, and I am not talking about the current nation of Israel. I'm talking about the seed of Abraham, the natural seed of Abraham, okay, not the political Israel that exists today. That was a political move that took place from the United Nations. They all came together. They had a vote, and they decided, which this was a plan for decades, that they were going to have a land for the Zionists, okay, for the Zionist movement. That's what that was. That was a Zionist move. Had nothing at all to do with Scripture. Had nothing at all to do with the fulfillment of prophecy. Had nothing at all to do with the plan that the Most High has for His seed. And we're going to get, more depth into that as we look at the prophets, Ezekiel and Isaiah and Zechariah. We're going to start looking at them, and it's going to unveil the plan, the end time plan that the Most High has for His seed. But that, when we talk about the nation of Israel, we're talking about the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Isaac, okay? And so let's look at this now. Because the most spiritually influential nation on earth, again, the nation of Israel, the natural blood-bought nation of Israel, a monotheistic nation that would know the only true Elohim and who would give us the Holy Scriptures. And they would also give us the most vital individual in history. There's no one on the planet that's ever existed that was more important to this world and the history of this world than Yeshua HaMashiach. I don't care who you want to name. There's no one that comes close. I mean, this man literally split time. He split time in half. So no one is more important than Yeshua HaMashiach. He will give us the source of salvation and the only way back to Elohim. And all this came through Isaac, okay? So again, why separate Isaac from his brothers? Because the development of Israel as a nation must be separate from all other nations on the earth. That's how important they were. They had to be separated from all the others, from Midianites and all the others, even though they were related by blood of Abraham, they still had to be separated from him because they had a very special calling. Look what Deuteronomy 14 says. Ye are the children of Yahweh your Elohim. You shall not cut yourselves or make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. Why? For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy Elohim. And Yahweh has chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all the nations that are upon the earth. That bears reading again. You are the children of Yahweh your Elohim. You shall not cut yourselves nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. Why? For thou art a holy people unto Yahweh thy Elohim, and Yahweh has chosen you to be a peculiar people unto himself above all the nations that are upon the earth. That's pretty clear. I don't think I need a dictionary to break any of that stuff down, right? That's pretty clear that he spoke to the seed of Abraham, Isaac and Esau, right? And told them that they are a holy, set apart people, set apart from everybody else. So this is why, starting with Isaac, he said, we got to separate. That's why when he came to Abraham, he said, get from your father's house, from your land, from your peoples to a place I'm going to show you. So the separation, right, began with Abraham, continued on with Isaac. All right, let's move on now. Now, Isaac and Rebekah and the birth of the twins. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister of Laban, the Syrian. And we're in Genesis 25. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren. And Yahweh was entreated of her, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy wombs. So here are 2 more nations. 2 more nations are springing forth from Abraham, right? 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. Now I'm gonna deal with something for a moment. Look what the prophecy that Yahweh said about these 2. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder, the firstborn, shall serve the younger. So this prophecy was being given to the mother here, right? She's hearing this. She knows what the plan of the Most High is. And so she's going to, as you're going to see as we unfold this, we have time. She's trying to help out the Most High in making this promise come to pass. But it was always the plan of the Most High for the elder to serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over, like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old, or 60 years old, when he bare them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Yaakov, or Jacob, was a plain man dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison. He was loving him based on his stomach, right? The man can cook. I like to eat. And so the father was gravitating towards his older son. But Rebekah loved Jacob. And I believe because of the prophecy that she received, knowing that the elder shall serve the younger, she's favoring the one that the Most High favored, right? Her heart is leaning towards that which is important to the Most High. And Yaakov sod pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Yaakov, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Yaakov said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. What profit shall this birthright do unto me? Right? And Yaakov said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him and sold him his birthright. Now that, this is, we've talked about this in previous lessons. This man sold his birthright unto Yaakov, for a bowl of soup. Now the birthright, gave him the right as, the older, the senior of the 2, a double portion. and a right to inherit all that his father had, or at least a double portion of it, because they were twins, right? And so for him to be willing to give that birthright up for a bowl of soup, there's people on this earth that will give up eternal life to feed their flesh. Right? They will give up the benefit of living, amongst the Most High for an eternity, for the pleasure of sin for a season. And so this is one of the reasons why the scripture tells us that, Yaakov he loved, but Esau he hated. Because anybody that's willing to give up something as valuable as a birthright for a bowl of soup, this is not the kind of person you want around you. They will sell you out. Man, what is that, a candy bar? Man, I want a piece of that candy bar. You got an Almond's Joy, you can share half and still have whole. What you got to give me, right? What you got to give me? Well, I know where my family is. I know that, we've been hiding out from the beast. But hey, man, you give me half that candy bar, I'll let you know where they at. Wow. Right? You don't need people like an Esau to know your secrets. Right. Because he will sell you out for a bowl of soup. And so that's why the Most High, he despised him, because his heart was not right. Then Yaakov gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau, look at this now, he despised his birthright. He had no respect unto his birthright. For a bowl of soup, a famine in the land, and the blessing renewed. We're in chapter 26 now of Genesis. And there was a famine in the land beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Esau went to Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And Yahweh appeared unto him and said, go not down unto Egypt. Don't do like your daddy did. No, don't go down into Egypt. Dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee and will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries. And I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father. Interesting enough, notice the Most High is saying the oath which I swear. One of the things that the Most High told Abraham, he said, because I can swear by no greater, I'm going to swear by myself that in blessing, I'm going to bless you. And in multiplying, I will multiply you. So in other words, if the Most High did not fulfill on his promise, because he swore by himself, he would literally have to cease to exist. That's how strong the bond of his promise was to Abraham. And so he's renewing that promise to Isaac now. He said, man, I'm blessing you. The blessing of Abraham is on you, and I'm going to sustain you. And we're going to see how powerful this blessing is as we proceed on with these verses here. And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Now, notice I got that underlined. In thy seed, singular, not plural. In thy seed shall all nations of the earth be blessed. That is pointing towards Yeshua HaMashiach. He is the promised seed, right? We certainly see that Abraham was a father of many nations, and he had a multitude of children like the stars of the sky. But the seed that he's talking about is the same seed he's talking about in Genesis 3:15. The seed of the woman shall bruise the serpent's head, and the serpent's head is going to bruise that seed's heel. And that came through Yeshua, right? That came through Yeshua. So again, as we read the scriptures, we got to discern exactly what's being said, who's being spoken of, so we can recognize what the Most High is saying. And so right here, that seed, in thy seed, in Yeshua, shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws, my Torah, he kept it all, right? And Isaac dwelt in Gerar. He did not leave. He was obedient and he remained there. And let's watch and just watch how this unfolds, how blessed this single man is. This man with one wife, right, and two twin sons. Let's see what's going to be happening here with him. And the men of the place asked him of his wife, and he said, "She is my sister." For he feared to say, and this sounds familiar, doesn't it? Same thing as Daddy did, right? You know, because they had a practice back then that if people were traveling among certain nations, if they saw an attractive woman, they would kill the husband for the wife. So there's a reason why these men were lying, okay? And they weren't technically they were not lying because they were related. You know, they were, you know, sometimes they were born of the same father, but not of the same mother. And the Most High was allowing for them to marry at that time, you know, because they were still repopulating the earth. Eventually, once he gave the commandments to Moses, and by the time they got into Leviticus, then they began to set down laws for marriage. And he said, you know, don't lie down with your mother's sister. Don't lie down with your brother's daughter. You know, he began to, you know, differentiate, you know, make it very clear what was legal and allowed and what was not. But it was not until the Torah was given to Moses. So we're talking about 400 years from this time before the Torah was given. So these things were still being allowed. Just go again, verse 7. And the men of the place asked him of his wife, and he said, "She is my sister," for he feared to say, "She is my wife," lest he said he, the men of the place should kill me for Rebekah, because she was fair to look upon. And it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out at a window and saw, and behold, Isaac was sporting with Rebekah, his wife. And Abimelech called Isaac and said, "Behold, of a surety she is your wife. And how sayest thou, she is my sister?" You know, he was probably hugging on her, probably was kissing on her, and they saw it. They said, "Oh no, there's something's up here. You don't do that with your sister. You know, there's something closer here, right?" And Isaac said unto him, "Because I said, lest I die for her." Right? So I didn't know what was going to happen. You know, so I had to, say this. And I told her to say, "You're my sister," right? And Abimelech said, "What is this thou hast done unto us? One of the people might lightly have lied with your wife, and thou should have brought guiltiness upon us." Right? So this man, he had a righteous heart. And so he's recognizing that story that was being told, right, placed him in a bad situation, put him in a bad light, because, out of the righteousness of his heart, he could have made a decision to begin to court Rebekah, and it could have led them to the problem. He don't want to be on the wrong side of the Most High, right? And Abimelech charged all his people. Listen what Abimelech is doing now. He said, "He that touched this man or his wife shall surely be put to death." So obviously, he recognized something very special about Isaac, that he's making this decree throughout his whole nation. Don't mess with this man. Don't mess with his wife. The man that does that, you will be put to death. Then Isaac sold in that land. Instead of going to Egypt, he stayed in a place where there was a famine. He sold in the land and received in that same year something that never happens: 100-fold return. If you talk to any farmer, they'll tell you don't get 100-fold return in 1 year, and definitely not in the time of a famine. And Yahweh blessed him. Is that not Yahweh renewing the blessing that he gave to Abraham? He said, I'm gonna show you something very special, son. I know it's rough out here, and I know normally when it's not going well in Canaan, everybody go to Egypt, which is the greatest nation on the planet right now, because they always seem to have resources. But son, I want to do something different than you. Stay here in the time of famine and watch me work for you. And he gave the man 100-fold. We're somewhat in a season of famine right now. You got a lot of striking going on. You got a lot of plants closing. You got inflation going through the roof. Sandwiches that you could have got last year for $10 is now $15. It's just ridiculous. When you go shopping, everybody knows the boxes have shrunk. and the prices have gone up, right? Gas prices starting to go up, everything. This inflation has been ridiculous. I wish I could, go and look at some of the sizes of the box that we had, even 2 or 3 years ago. And then the quality of the things. I bought a cabinet, a few months ago, and I noticed in one of the reviews, the guy said, I bought one of these cabinets not right before COVID. And the construction of it was a solid weld, and the metal was thick. And I was so impressed with it that I wanted to get another one. And when I got the new one after COVID, this thing was so flimsy. And, instead of it having welds now, they gave us screws. And you put screws in it, and the thing, is so shaky that if you don't nail it up to the wall, or if you don't somehow secure it to the wall, it will not stand. So, it's amazing to me, just in a couple of years, the quality of the workmanship in this one item. And so this was a major, I think it was a Husky, which is a name brand piece of equipment. And he said, man, it is not the same as it was just 2 years ago. And so this is the time we're living in. We're living in a time of famine. So it's a time now, just like Isaac, we've got to begin to really trust the Most High to bring us through this season. Don't count on the government, right? Don't count on any of these things. It is time to put your trust and your confidence in the Most High. He will sustain you the same way he sustained Isaac.
Don't trust in your jobs.
Right.
Because you just can't. You just got to know that he's going to give you favor.
Yeah.
Because you're serving him.
In fact, I just talked to one of my friends. He's been with a company. He's been Joseph to this company, right? And recently, they let him go. He said he could almost see the writings on the wall. And he told him in the exit interview, you guys got to know that my time being here has helped to sustain you guys. It's helped to sustain you in the midst of a lot of different things that's been going on. So your decision today is going to impact your ability to exist going forward. And don't think that banks have not closed the doors. My wife has had situations where different companies have come against her, and those companies don't exist anymore. So I know how that works. This one company came against her, just treated her totally wrong.
Accused me of stealing.
Right, and she said, "Are you kidding me? I am a righteous woman. I would not do that." Right. But you go ahead and make this accusation. We'll see how this thing pans out. And in a very short period of time, a major company that if mention the name, it was. They don't exist anymore because they're coming against the people of the Most High. Genesis 26:13, and the man waxed great, talking about Isaac now, and went forward and grew until he became what? Very great. Now we're talking about a single man, a single family with a wife and 2 kids. Okay, we're talking about a man with a wife and 2 kids. And the Bible says the man waxed great and went forward and grew until he became very great. For he had possessions of flocks and possessions of herds and a great store of servants. He had many employees, right? And look at this now. And the Philistines envied him. Now, keep in mind now, the Philistines are a nation. They're not a family. They are a nation. Thousands upon thousands of people make up this the Philistine group. And you got this one man with 1 wife, 2 kids, and servants and flocks, and the Philistines envied this man. And Abimelech said unto Isaac, look at this now. Go from us, for thou art much mightier than we. He didn't say, because if you stick around here, we're afraid that you might become greater than we are. He's already saying you are much mightier than we. Now that's a heck of a testimony for somebody to have about a man who's all he's got is 1 wife and 2 kids, but his possessions are so great that he is challenging a whole nation. Now, why is this important? Because this is the blessing of Abraham. And this blessing is supposed to cause the people of the Most High to stand out from all other people groups. And that's what it was doing for our fathers. For Abraham, it did it. For Isaac, we see it's doing it. And here's why this is so important. Deuteronomy 28 talks about the curses that will come on the children of Israel for not obeying him. Now, everybody know Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14. I'll be blessed coming in, I'll be blessed going out, I'll be the head, not the tail, I'll be above and not beneath, I'll be a lender, not a borrower, all that, right? People, they go to sleep, reciting that. But it's 15 through 68 that they pay no attention to. But because of our ancestors not staying on the same path that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob did, it eventually led our descendants into a bad way and ultimately into slavery. The blessing was taken from us. But when you get to Deuteronomy 30, and I'm going to give you a glimpse of this because we're going to go into a deep dive when we get into the book of Deuteronomy. But when you get into the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30, it says, when all these blessings and cursings have come upon you, all the prophecies that I've said about you, and once you fall into the cursing and you have been scattered to the four corners of the earth, and you come back to yourself and recognize the error of your ways, and you return to me and to my Torah, then I'm going to bless you and cause you to be greater than the fathers. Who are the fathers? Abraham, Isaac, Yaakov, Joseph, David, Solomon. How many hear what I'm saying? They are the foundations of our faith. They are the foundations of our race. And so we can look back on them and recognize that if we can get this thing right, and we can return to the Most High the way he wants us to, he said, I'm going to cause you to be greater than the fathers. That's what we have to look forward to. So I'm taking a deep dive and looking at the fathers today, the life of Abraham, the life of Isaac, and eventually we're going to be talking about the life of Jacob, right? And so this man Abimelech is saying that Isaac, this one man is greater than all of the Philistines combined. How many hear what I'm saying? He said, go away from us, because you're too great, man. You're mightier than we are. And Yahweh appeared unto him the same night and said, I am the Elohim of Abraham, thy father. Fear not, for I am with thee and will bless thee and multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake, because Abraham was his friend. The Most High wouldn't even make a move in this area without talking to Abraham. And so that blessing that was on Abraham is now landing on his son Isaac, okay? And he built there an altar and called upon the name of Yahweh. So this is what righteous people do. They don't look to lean on the flesh, on the arm of flesh. They lean on the Most High. And so Isaac, he's built the altar and said, I'm going to honor the Most High. He's got my back. He had my father's back. My father told me all the stories. I was with him when we went up to Golgotha's hill. I was fully prepared because I had the same faith that my father had. If my father trusted in the Most High, I'm going to trust in him. He said, in Isaac, the seed's going to be. So if he's going to cause me to be sacrificed on this mountain, so be it. Because me and my father, we have one thing in common. We trust the Most High. If he's going to take my life, then he's going to give it back to me because I don't have any kids yet. And so Isaac had the same faith. And so what is he doing? In the midst of tribulation, in the midst of persecution, he's calling on the name of Yahweh. What do you do in your difficult times? Right? What do you do when things get difficult? When economy get difficult? When you get persecuted, what do? Do you go get your gun? Do you go get your partners? You want to go try to fight? Or do you trust in the Most High and abide in his shalom, in his peace? Let's see what Isaac does. And he pitched his tent there, and there Isaac's servants digged a well. Look at this now. Then Abimelech went to him from Gerar, and Ahuzath, one of his friends, and Pichol, the chief captain of his army. And Isaac said unto them, why are you coming to me, seeing you hate me, and have sent me away from you? And they said, look at this now. We saw certainly that Yahweh was with you. And we said, let there be now an oath between us and you, even betwixt us and you, and let us make a covenant with you. So they thought about it. They said, this man is so blessed, we need to push him away from us. And then they thought about it again. They said, wait a minute. If the blessing is on this man, why are we pushing him away? We probably need to get close to this man, right? So they had second thoughts, and they said, let's go back here and smooth this thing over. This is not wise what we have done. Okay, that thou wilt do us no hurt. This is the covenant they want. That you will do us no hurt. You man, your wife, your two kids. We don't want you to do any hurt to this great nation, the Philistines, that's been around for 100 years, right? We don't want you to do us any hurt, as we have not touched you, and as we have done you nothing, right, but good, and have sent thee away in peace. Thou art now the blessed of Yahweh. This is what Abimelech has to say about Isaac. It's a good testimony, right? It's a great testimony. And it's good that he recognized that I wasn't being too smart, not being in the covenant and fellowship with this man, right? And so what does Isaac do? Did he say, get away from me? I'm not making any covenant with you? No, and what I didn't go into for sake of time is that his servants kept taking over Isaac's wells. Isaac would dig a well, because keep in mind, it's a famine in the land. So in a time of famine, water is scarce. So the Philistines were digging wells and coming up dry. Every time Isaac would put his shovel in the ground, water was coming up. And so as soon as water would come up, then the Philistines would go and claim his well. And so he'd dig another well, and water would come up, and they'd come and claim that one. And I think it happened 3 or 4 times. And eventually, he got to a place, and he made a well, and he honored the Most High. But then the Philistines recognized that where we can't get water, this man is getting water every time he strikes the ground. It's obviously a blessing on this man that we are not experiencing. And so they made a decision to come to Isaac, even though he's talking about we did you no hurt, but in reality, y'all did, right? Y'all did. Y'all kept taking over my wells. And me being a man of peace, I chose not to do anything. So now Isaac, his faith is being tested, and his love walk is being tested, right? Because in spite of all the things that these people have done unto him, taking over his wells, he didn't try to fight. He said, well, I'm gonna go, he kind of did the same thing that Abraham did with Lot. They were fighting over the land, and Abraham said, hey man, let there be peace between us. If you choose to go to the right, I'll go to the left. You choose to go to the left, I'll go to the right. Whatever you choose, I'll take the latter. I know I'm the senior citizen here, right? You the younger, but I'm gonna give way to peace, right? I'm choosing peace right now. And so Isaac knew the story. He's walking in the same peace that his father walked in. He done made a feast for these men. They're eating and drinking his food, right? Because he's choosing to walk in shalom, the peace of the Most High. And they rose up betimes in the morning, and they made a swear. They made a pact to one another, right? And Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him in what? Peace. Right? He's a peacemaker, right? He made peace. And look what happens now immediately after he makes peace. And it came to pass the same day. Can you say the same day? The same day that Isaac's servants came and told him concerning the well which they had digged. And they said unto him, what? We have found water. We have found water, right? Because he was being a peacemaker and showing himself, to be a truster of the Most High, the Most High saying, I got your back, Isaac. I know they've taken your wells time and time again, but I've got your back. Did you have something?
Lesson learned. If we look at this, a lot of times, even me myself, I have to say, I want to deal with things in the heat of the passion or the anger or the situation where we're being attacked or somebody's coming against us or circumstances, we get into a thing where we want to take it over and
Right.
fight for our rights and
Mhm.
fight for our battles and things of that nature. But this is just showing us we have to, the greater one that's in us, we have to let him move on our behalf
Absolutely.
and fight for us, because he can do it
He can do it.
like nobody else
Absolutely.
can. And in the end, two things happen. We come out blessed and he come out glorified.
Exactly. Exactly. Because of our trust walk. It takes trust, it takes faith, it takes a confident walk to allow yourself to be taken advantage of, and you're still gonna trust the Most High. And when everything was said and done, the people that came against him had to come and honor him, right? And so I guarantee you, these people are walking away from this saying, you know what, that dude is something else, man.
And the reason I'm bringing this up is because a lot of times we hear these stories and people like, oh, those old Bible stories, they're not happening now. I seen it when that guy tried to, the crook, as we titled him, tried to steal from us and thought he was gonna get over,
Right.
and just knew he had it. But when it was all said and done, we had house, car, and money.
Right.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Had it
You know,
all.
I forgot about that story.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, but you and I was ready to fight. You sitting up there calm as all could be and collected, and this dude coming our house acting like he tripping.
Right.
I went and got my skillet from under the sink because I didn't have a gun. I went and got my skillet, and I was like, let him act like he wanted to use his black belt in karate. I will karate this frying pan upside his head. But you were so cool.
Because I had trust.
And just trusted the Most High, and like I said, by the time it was all said and done, we had everything.
Absolutely. For those that don't know, it was the first house we ever bought. You know, we were in a situation where we were renting, and we got into this house really by a miracle. And my wife was responsible for the miracle of us getting into this house that we were renting. It was very accommodating. Only problem was that the owner would not sign a lease with us. And so every time we got a statement for rent, every month he would go up $10, $15, $20, $25. He just kept going up on the rent. And I said, man, you know, let's sign a lease for a year so we know a fixed number. He said, no, I don't want to sign a lease. I said, you know what, if he's gonna keep doing this, I'd rather get something I can control. And so I went into prayer about buying a house. And soon as I got to work, and I was in the fire department at the time, I got to work. And a man said, hey, man, I got a house to sell. Are you interested? I said, am I interested? Absolutely. I've been praying. And so we get to this house. This is a fixer-upper, but, you know, I was Ron Hoover's son. Right. You know, so I had no problem with having a fixer-upper, right? And so it had it was a double lot, you know, a nice ranch home, perfect starter home for my wife and I. And so we entered into an agreement, you know, and the man said, okay, and this is the first house, I'm young, I'm in my 20s, I've never purchased a house before. He said, okay, listen, I'm looking at this Continental, and if you can just go ahead and finance the Continental for me, then I will sign over the title to the property for you. And so he had a land contract, and so I went ahead and got the financing for, I think, $16,000 for the car. He signed over the property to me. And then, you know, my wife was pregnant at the time. I think she was about 8 months pregnant at the time we moved in. And so we still got boxes in the crib and unpacked, right? He just knock on the door. And so I opened the door, and this man standing at the door. And he said, I heard somebody else moved into the house. I just want to let you know that, you know, I own the property.
Back it up. You weren't even at home.
I wasn't there first.
I was there with the kids. And he knocked on the door when you came home. I told you, this guy said he owned this house. Right. And he came back. And that's when you talked to me. No, I didn't know he had been there first. Yes. So he come to me, he said, yeah, I was gonna let you know, I own the property, and the guy that you're buying this from has not made a payment since he signed the land contract with me 4 months ago. Now we back in the early 80s. Yeah. So the payment was $200 a month. So the crook came to me and said, yeah, I know I'm behind, man. If you could give me $800, I can get this thing cut off, and then we won't have to worry about it no more.
And I said, dude, I'm not comfortable with that. I said, listen, I need you to give me a cash price for this house. I want to cash out, And so I think it was like 10,000, no, $11,200. What he said, you give me $11,200, and you can get the crib. And so I raised the money, had a certified check. I'm on my way to close with this crook, and my heart was jumping out of my chest like I am getting ready to drive a car off a cliff. I knew on my way to this meeting that it was not for me to give him this check. So I said, okay, I got to find a way to get out of this deal because I've already set the appointment to close with him. So I go to his house, and it's two lots that we're supposed to be purchasing. Lot, still remember the lot number, lot 73 and lot 74. And so I get there, and I'm looking at the deed, and I said, okay, so this is for lot 73 in the house. Where is the paperwork for the lot 74? And this is what he said. Once you gave me the money, I was going to go downtown and complete the purchase for the other lot. I said, man, that is no business at all. I said, once you get your stuff together, then you give me a call. So I left there, and I got home. I said, okay, Most High, what am I supposed to do here? He said, you need to get an attorney today. Now it's like 4 o'clock. And so I go into the yellow pages. We didn't have Google back then.
No.
Yeah, we had the yellow pages, and the yellow pages were inches thick, right?
Especially for attorneys.
Attorneys, you turn an A attorneys, and it's just page after page after page after page of attorneys. So I'm flipping through, trying to find out which attorney. I'm trying to be led. I'm trying to be led, and I get to this one page, and he said, "That is the one. Call him. He will see you today." Just gave me that impression in my spirit, right? So I called him. I said, listen, I got a land purchase matter that I need to talk to an attorney about. Do you have any time available today? He said, if you can get here in 15 minutes, I can see you. And he was right downtown. I was there in 10 minutes. And so I went in there to see him. And this is what I said. I said, listen, I'm buying a property at 408 Harvey, and I need an attorney. He said, stop right there. He said, I cannot represent you because the guy that you're buying that property from, I represent his wife. He is going through a divorce. His wife has already filed a claim of interest against that property. And so I don't care how much, this is what he said now, if you gave that man $1 million, that property would not be free and clear because the wife has an interest in the property because she's married to that man. So that's why the Most High was telling me, don't give him the money. But here's a kicker. He was the only attorney on the planet that could tell me that information. This young 20-something-year-old, never bought a house before. The Most High led me to the very attorney that can give me the critical and vital information I needed to not make a mistake in this purchase. And so he said, I can recommend to you another attorney. I said, give me the attorney's name. I called the attorney, made an appointment, and he said, okay, give me the details. I said, listen, there's a person who owns the property. There's another person who is buying a property on land contract. I'm buying from the second person. There's a third person, the wife, who's filed a claim of interest against the property. And then there's me. And so the attorney said, walk away. I said, I'm not walking away because I know that this is my property. The attorney said, walk away. He said, I've been in this business for a long time. I have never seen a person close a deal with that many different people involved. I said, you can really see a miracle. And so he said, okay, this is what you got to do then. If you're going to make it happen, this is what you need. You have to find out what the wife wants. You got to find out what the original owner needs. And then you still got to satisfy the person you're buying it from. I said, okay, let me go to work. So I went back to the other attorney, and I asked him, so what does your client want? What does the wife want? And he said she'd be satisfied with $1,500. I said, I can do that. And so I went to Mr. Whiters, the person that owned the property. I said, the balance on the land contract is how much? He said it's $7,500. So now that's $7,500 plus 15, that's $9,000, right? And so the original purchase price was $11,200. So that's only leaving $2,200 in the deal. So I said, nah, I gotta satisfy this crook. And so I looked at the deed, And remember how we originally bought this thing. I purchased a car from him for him, and he wrote on the deed that I gave him cash of $16,000. Now, in the meantime, when we agreed to the sell, cash sell, he had given me the keys and the car back. So now I'm driving the Lincoln Continental, and I'm living in the house, and I've got the title deed that says I gave him cash for the property. It's already, he signed off on it, and everything was already done. So I showed it to my attorney, and the attorney said, you know what? He's already signed off on his interest. So technically, you don't have to do anything for him.
Nothing.
And so out of that check for $11,200, I gave it to my attorney so he can make the disbursement. And the crook still had to sign off on the final paperwork. So he got his attorney. The crook's attorney was there at the closing, handling the closing. So the crook said, okay, so Mr. Whiter is going to be getting a disbursement of the $7,500. The wife is going to be getting the $1,500. All right. And let's see, now we did a title search, and there's $2,000 in back taxes. So we're going to take care of these back taxes as well. And that leaves out of all of this $200. Man, that's just enough for my fee. and then the crook is in the background. I never seen a dark person, dark he was, turn red. But this brother was mad, and his attorney insisted that he sign off on the documents. He didn't get a penny.
Not a dime.
He didn't get one red cent. We got the property free and clear. My attorney was always, he said, I still to this date don't believe that you guys were able to close that property. But the Most High, when he is on your side, he has got your back. In fact, the scripture say, if Elohim be for you, he is more than the whole world against you. And so that's why when the attorney was trying to tell me walk away, I said, no, I already know. The Most High already said, son, this is your property. So since he already told me that, I don't care how difficult the situation is, he will make it happen. How many hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, we just get back to this. Hope y'all got something out of that. But he's able. I don't know about you, but I know him to be able. And so in this situation, Isaac, being a peacemaker, his servants came back to him saying, Master, we have found water. We have found water. The Most High has made a way for us, even in the time of famine. And so this is what Isaac did now. He said, he called it Sheba. Therefore, the name of the city is called Beersheba, or the city of seven unto this day. Okay, that's a number of completion, a number of perfection. And so he's saying the Most High is perfect in his dealings, right? So what makes this situation between Isaac and Abimelech so significant? And I kind of talked about it, but you guys should understand it. This situation is significant because the blessing of the Most High is on Isaac. And Isaac's blessing was so great that he was shining brighter than a whole nation of people, right? Even in the midst of turmoil, even in the midst of famine, and all the things that was coming against him, Isaac's situation shown how great the Most High is. And this is what he loves to do. The Most High loves to show himself strong and mighty, right, on behalf of others, right? He loves doing that. He loves to show himself strong and mighty. So we have to learn how to let him be, who he is, Elohim, and not try to solve the situations for him. Anytime we try to get involved with that thing and try to make that thing work, we'll put a Sarah, and end up with an Ishmael, right? And now you got feuding going on in the camp that didn't have to be if only you had trusted the Most High to work that thing out for you. And so this situation is great because it's a great picture of the greatness of the Most High in the midst of a difficult time. I mean, hear what I'm saying? It's a beautiful story of that. So Isaac is one man representing one family. Abimelech is a king representing a whole nation. Yet Abimelech's testimony of Isaac was simple. Go from us, for thou art much mightier than we. Can't get no greater than that. That's a powerful testimony. That is a powerful testimony. And guess what, saints? That's supposed to be our testimony. For those of us that are walking uprightly before him, that should be our story. Okay, and that's what the Most High wants to do. But you must walk uprightly before him. The blessing of Jacob and Esau. And Esau was 40 years old when he took a wife. Judith, the daughter of Beri, the Hittite, and Bashemath, the daughter of Elon, the Hittite. That's some interesting artwork there, boy.
There you go.
Which were a grief of mine unto Isaac and to Rebekah. You know, they did not want their children to marry amongst these heathens. You know, they did not want their sons to marry these idol worshipers.
Right.
So this is another reason why the Most High chose Jacob over Esau. Because, you know, Jacob, you know, he doesn't have a bride. You know, there's no mention of him being with anybody. But Esau is marrying, you know, woman after woman among these heathens. And it came to pass that when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau, his eldest son, and said unto him, my son. And he said unto him, behold, here am I. And he said, behold now, I am old. I know not the day of my death. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out to the field and take me some venison, and make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau, his son. She's over in the corner. She heard every word that Isaac said to Esau. And Esau went to the field to hunt for venison and to bring it back. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob, her son, saying, behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau, thy brother, saying, bring me venison and make me savory meat, that I may eat and bless thee before Yahweh, before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, according to that which I command thee. Go now to the flock, and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loves. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. And Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, behold, Esau, my brother, is a hairy man, and I'm a smooth man. My father peradventure will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. And his mother said unto him, upon me be thy curse, my son. Only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. Now you got to keep in mind, this is Laban's sister. So Jacob got his trickiness honestly, okay? Because his mother is putting him up to this right here.
Right.
You know, so there's a little bit of a trickster in both of them, right?
But however, you gotta know, she knew what the will of the
Yes,
Lord was.
yes.
So
But they're still taking it upon themselves
that's
to
true.
do some things. You know, the Most High didn't instruct them to do this,
No,
right? You know, the bottom line is Jacob was going to be blessed because the Most High wanted him blessed. But in this case, you know, she took it upon herself to make sure he got the blessing. And he went and fetched and brought them to his mother. And his mother made savory meat, such as his father loved. And Rebekah took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Jacob, her younger son. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands and upon the smooth of his neck. I mean, she getting ready to deceive her own husband, right? And she gave the savory meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. And he came unto his father and said, my father. And he said, here am I. Who art thou, my son? And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau, thy firstborn. I have done according as thou hast bade me to. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac said unto his son, how is it thou hast found it so quickly, my son? And he said, because Yahweh, thy Elohim, brought it to me. And Isaac said unto Jacob, Come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. He knows something was up, right? And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him and said, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy as his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. And he said, art thou my very son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat, and he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Isaac said unto him, come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, see, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field, which Yahweh has blessed. Therefore Elohim give thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. That's prosperity. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that cursed thee, and blessed be he that blessed thee. Why is this blessing so significant? Because this is the blessing of our fathers. This blessing that we're reading right now is the very same blessing that should be upon us today. And it's only because of the hard-heartedness of our ancestors that we're not walking fully in this blessing. But with those of us that's coming into the light of Yahweh's word, we're beginning to experience this, especially since we've walked over into Torah. And if you think, we've seen something, just watch. Watch how the Most High starts unfolding things before us. Those of us who are honoring him in his Torah, keeping his Sabbath holy, keeping his annual feast days, those 7 feast days, those of us who are honoring him in this way and walking upright before him, watch the separation that he begins to make. Watch, you're going to see Deuteronomy 30 begin to manifest itself among those that are honoring him. But you can't just be walking in Torah. You have to honor his seed. You have to honor Yeshua HaMashiach as the embodiment of the Most High. He is literally the manifestation of the Godhead bodily. And so for those who reject him, you're not walking uprightly before him. So you must reject this Antichrist spirit if you want to experience the blessing the Most High has for you. He said he wants to curse those that curse you and bless those that bless you. But the blessed seed is Yeshua HaMashiach. We must recognize that, okay? And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, that Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from hunting. And he also had made savory meat, and brought her unto his father, and said unto his father, let my father arise, and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said unto him, who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn, Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly, and said, who? Who is he that hath taken venison, and brought it me? And I've eaten of all before thou came, and hast blessed him. Yea, and he shall be blessed. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, bless me, even me also, my father. And he said, thy brother came with subtlety, and has taken away thy blessing. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he has taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brothers have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing? My father, bless me, even me also, O my father. Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Wow, what a blessing, right? And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, he does comfort himself, proposing to kill thee. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice. Arise, flee thou to Laban my brother, and to Haran, and tarry with him a few days, until thy brother's fury turn away. Until thy brother's anger turn away from thee, and he forget that which thou hast done unto him, then I will send and fetch thee from thence. Why should I be deprived of also of you both in one day? In other words, I'm gonna lose my husband and lose my son at the same time. We're not doing that. I need you to get up out of here, boy. Rebekah said unto Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob take a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these which are of the daughters of the land, what good shall my life do to me? So, Esau's already been taking these women. But she's saying, do not let Jacob take these women. You know that boy is special. Let's get him away from here and let's find a woman that's worthy of my son, right? And that's the end. We're going to pick up next week with Jacob's journey to see his uncle Laban, his mother's brother. And that's going to be a powerful, powerful lesson, right? So do we have any questions before we wrap up today? We did really good on time. We did real good on time. Do anyone have any questions about the lesson today? Any questions at all? Okay, any questions or comments? I tell you that, I'm excited about teaching about the fathers. The lessons that we're learning from them is going to help us to have a greater walk than we've ever had before. And so I'm really excited about that. So any questions whatsoever, we can deal with that now. We got a few minutes before we wrap up today. Looks like there's no questions. All right. Well, listen up, saints. I'm excited for those of you that are participating in this Bible study. Again, we're going to go through these scriptures. We're going to make this way plain. Our goal is for you to be able to have a stronger walk with the Most High, to strengthen your faith in Him, to have a greater expectation of what He has in store for us. Those of us who are the seed of Abraham, even those who have been engrafted in. The Most High has great things in store for you, but we must walk uprightly before Him. Right? We cannot take that for granted. Do not live sloppy lives. Do not live like like the heathens do. Make up your mind you're going to do those things that are pleasing in His sight. And if He shows something about how your walk is, He will reveal things unto you. And once He reveals those things unto you, then go to work on it. Strengthen your walk. Make sure you're doing those things that are pleasing in His sight, because there's no one that's batting 1,000. No one is doing 100. But the things that you know that are wrong, you must strengthen yourself to walk uprightly. Don't walk knowing that you're missing the mark and just saying, well, no one's perfect, so I'm just going to walk any old kind of way. No, you got to strive for perfection. You got to strive to walk as Mashiach walks. And if you make that your goal, then the Most High will give you everything you need to walk uprightly and to be kept, so that you can be an example of His goodness in the earth. All right? Let's go ahead and get ready to pray out. Hallelujah. Blessed are you, Yahweh Yeshua, our Elohim, King of the universe, who gave us a Torah of truth and implanted eternal life within us. Blessed are you, Yahweh Yeshua, giver of the Torah. In Yeshua's name, so be it. And the runner benediction, Yiwadeka Yahweh Badishmareka, Ya'er Yahweh Panavaleka Vekomeka, Isa Yahweh Panavaleka Vesanaka, Shalom. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. May Yahweh make his face shine upon you and show you his favor. And may Yahweh lift his face towards you and give you what? Shalom, peace. Nothing missing, nothing broken, and nothing lacking. All right, so we want to encourage you to visit our YouTube channel. That is Dr. Russ E. Hoover. Visit our channel. This teaching will be on YouTube Tuesday at 11 a.m. We get those dropped 11 a.m. sharp every Tuesday. So you get a chance to get the replay of this on Tuesday. And make sure you get a chance to visit some of the other lessons that we've had on that. I've got these all. Yeah, tell a friend, absolutely. Tell a neighbor about it, and make sure that you subscribe and like the videos. Listen, Saints, by subscribing, first of all, then you're building the team that's supporting this channel. And when you like the personal videos, then that's going to cause them to be distributed more by YouTube. They will push them out to other people more. And so you want to make sure that you're sharing them with other people. You know, if it's someone that you love, someone in your family, that you want to make sure they're getting a hold of the truth, then you want to share this information with those that you love. And again, that's Dr. Russ E. Hoover on the YouTube channel. And make sure you like and subscribe the videos. All right, we appreciate each and every one of you. Remember now, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. And remember now, I've cheated. I read the end of the book. And one thing I know is that we win and the devil loses. All right, Saints. Until the next time, it's Dr. Russ, and I am out.